All right. Good morning and welcome to another session with Coach Ray. Just going to adjust the camera here a little bit. Sorry about this, guys. Okay. So, welcome to another session with Coach Ray. My name is Coach Ray and lead trader for the Market Trader. Let's go ahead and get started here, and let's start with the risk disclosure. Okay. So, go ahead and open up the risk disclosure here, guys. Okay. Let's see. All right. So, just to remind everyone that the content that's about to be published and distributed and contained herein is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company is intended as investment advice and offered to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. Testimonials appearing on the company's website may not be representative of other clients or customers and is not a guarantee of future performance or success. Use of this information contained is to be used at your own risk, and the company's partners, representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. We all understand that future trading does contain a fair amount of risk. It's not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital, and only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used when trading. Only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Nothing contained herein is a solicitation or offer to buy, sell futures, options, or forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so now that we've gotten the risk disclosure out of the way, guys, we're going to go ahead and move into the news portal and see what news we have in store for us today. Okay. So we have a OPEC monthly report that I guess has already been published, but we don't have the results for. Okay. We have US CPI reporting, or has reported, all appearing to be positive at this point. We have Fed member Powell speaking or testifying here at 10 a.m. For those who trade crude oil, okay, we have a crude oil inventory report coming in at 10:30 Eastern time. Okay, we have Fed member Bostic speaking. We have 10-year note yields coming in at 1 p.m. And then we have Cisco reporting after earnings. Okay, so fair amount of news throughout the day. Okay, something to keep in mind as we approach the session. All right. So now that we've gotten the news out of the way, let's go ahead and tackle the markets here. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and start with the market that we normally start with, and that's the gold market. Okay, so here I have a chart of the gold market, and we've been in a little bit of a pullback, I would say, of late. We got to the highs here at about what was this, 29.66 or 29.70. And we've been on a kind of a downward spiral ever since. Okay, we've made some series of lower lows and lower highs. So let's take a look at the daily. Okay, I think even with this, we're still so we're still on the daily chart. You can see that we are still maintaining bullish structure here. Okay, but this is the second. Well, we've had a couple of days in the past where we've had a little bit of a pullback in the markets here. So we'll go ahead and turn off some of these levels here just to kind of make this as clean as I can. All right, so here we are. This is kind of what we're looking at here. We're going to go ahead and remove this as well. Supply and demand. Okay, we're just going to collapse this. And you can see here, okay, we still, even with the last couple of days of kind of bearish activity, we still maintain a bullish kind of stance in this market. Okay, So, I mean, technically we can come down to 2840, okay? 2840, 2850, right? And still maintain this bullish kind of posture here, okay? We could still make a move all the way down to 2850 before, we need to see price continue to the upside to maintain this bullish structure. Okay, so we are kind of reversing off the top of this bullish channel, and we are kind of challenging some of these the daily demand zones. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing on the daily chart. Moving on to the 4-hour chart. Okay, so we see again our series of candles here. You can see lower, not quite a lower. Well, we had a lower low here. We're coming into an area that we could see some demand here. Okay, at these levels here. Okay, I would say that there's a little demand zone that's been created as a result of price action here. Okay, so I would say this. I don't know, 2880. Okay, seems like a 28, yeah, around 2880, 2885, somewhere in that range. Is a demand area, okay, in this market on the 4-hour chart. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see how price reacts at this level. Now, how do I arrive at these demand zones? Well, I look for areas of consolidation. I look for areas of price overlap, and then I see where the last time that price has left an area like this, and I can see that right around 20. I guess this would be 2900 down to about 2885. We have an area that has been consolidating, and that price has left. Okay. So again, this area now, okay, now that we had a push to the upside, anytime price comes back to this level, the expectation is it should act as support. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mark in actually the top of this channel, which is 2900. Okay, so 2900 is kind of my line in the sand here for this gold market. Okay, so I'd like to see if I'm going to remain or keep this kind of bullish posture in this market. I really need to see price remain above 2900. Now, there is a possibility that price can come back down to 2860 before we see any shift in market sentiment. Okay. Right now we're hovering around 2900. Okay, just maybe a hair below it. So it stands to reason that we could potentially come back down. Okay, come back down to 2860. Okay, that is not out of the realm of possibilities before we see any sort of reversal in price. Okay, moving on to the 30-minute chart. Okay, 30-minute chart. Here we are. We've already we have already exceeded some of our average and daily ranges here. Okay, so we exceeded the average session range to the downside. I'm going to go ahead and remove this channel because that's not offering us much in the way of clarity here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up our ADR here, and we've exceeded that as well. Okay, so we've exceeded our average daily range. We've exceeded our average session range. This one being established here for London. Okay, before we started to see a little bit of a reaction, but to be honest, to entertain we've any sort of bullish price action, we need to start to break some structure here to the upside. Okay, we've been in this kind of downside structure of late since the close of Monday here. Okay, or since the start of Monday. All right, so ever since the start of Monday, we've been in this kind of downward kind of I don't know if it's a retracement or a pullback, however you want to phrase it. We've been on a steady decline of late in gold. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my fixed range volume profile. I'm going to locate the start of Tuesday here. Okay. And just to get a sense, I think I have a feeling of what that's going to be, but I'm just going to go ahead and confirm that. I expect that it's going to be below So we're going to go ahead and locate that, locate the close of the session here. And there we are. You can see that price is well below value at this point. Okay, so telling us that the bears are very much in control of this market. All right, for now. Okay, so we have this level here. Okay, that's our value area low. I'm going to go ahead and open up our initial balance range. Okay, looks like a relatively wide range, I guess, as a result of the some of the CPI news that we received today. Okay, so we kind of stretched down here, found some buyers, and now we're developing a little bit of a buying wick. Okay, here in this market. All right, so we just closed. No, we didn't close. Thought we did. Let's take a look at the 15-minute chart to see if what the 15-minute chart is telling us here. Okay, so we have a developing bullish candle, okay, which is representative of that 30-minute wick that we were seeing earlier. Okay, so right now let's go ahead and open up Anchor VWAP. We'll go ahead and locate the start of London here. Okay, right about there. Okay, so you can see that price is below our daily as well as our Anchor VWAP. Again, giving us indication that there's still a fair number of buyers, or not buyers, sellers in this market. Okay, assuming we start to get price to break above. Okay, assuming we do. Okay, then maybe we could start looking at maybe some opportunities to the upside. Okay, however, structure remains bearish. So if price does indeed remain below, okay, our daily and Anchor VWAP, then that could offer us a continued opportunity to the downside. Okay, so we have this 2880, okay, and as low as 2860 as possible destinations for a continuation move to the downside before we see any sort of serious reversal in this market. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add our levels to this chart. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add our price levels to this chart here. Okay, there we are. These are the price levels that I'm going to be tracking in this market. Okay, so we have that 2860 level that I mentioned, that 4-hour demand level. We have average daily range low, which we already exceeded. And I'm going to go ahead and adjust this average session range low to 2902. Okay, 2902. Okay, that's our average session range low, not 90, but 80. Okay, and then I'm going to adjust the top side of this. This is 2933. 2933 is our 50 is our new average session range high. Okay. All right. Okay, so a little bit of an adjustment for the London session here. The New York session hasn't officially opened, so this may adjust a little bit further. But we have reached the average session range low for London. Okay, so this could provide an area, right, where we could see maybe a bit of a reversal in price, maybe a revisit of value area low. Okay. Before we see any sort of, a continuation move to the downside. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm seeing right now on a 15-minute chart. Again, we have an engulfing candle that's developing on the 15-minute. I'm looking at the 4-hour. 4-hour is still, still bearish with a buying wick. So would probably like to see that kind of turn bullish here. But I am seeing that we are coming into an area of demand. So it is not, it is not surprising that we are seeing a little bit of buying at these levels. Okay. So I'm going to be monitoring the initial balance range. Okay. And checking to see what kind of extension we receive. Okay. And I'm working on the assumption that, we could easily break above. Okay. But I think the real test is, can we get above 2912? Because 2912 is going to be an area where, again, this is the most recent high. Okay. So if this is indeed going to turn bullish, then we need to break and close above 29.11. Okay. Or 29.12. Okay. We do have a bullish engulfing candle that is currently developing in this market. Okay. Which is positive for the bulls. But in order to really embrace the longs, we really need to get above 29.12. Okay. Otherwise, that maybe we'll continue in this bearish channel and continue maybe 29.12 is, which is also an area around VWAP, could serve as an area for maybe a continuation move to the downside. All right. Okay. So now that we have our levels, okay, here, let's go to move this over here so everything is in order. So we have our levels, we have our price, we have our hypos. At this point, it's just a matter of waiting here. Okay, we're going to wait for this candle to develop here, and if it does close, as I suspect it could close here in the next couple of minutes, we still have another half hour or so before this initial balance range is established. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the crude oil market. Okay, so crude oil market here, we have our start with our daily chart and get a sense for what the daily chart is telling us here. Okay, so daily has been in a little bit of I guess a bearish channel of late. I'm starting to see, I guess, a little bit of slowdown here in this move to the downside. However, we're still seeing a bearish volume delta here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off my ADR and my ASR here for a second. Okay, and I can see that price is um, kind of flirting with the possibility of heading higher. Okay, this is kind of what I'm seeing right now. Okay, so as long as price does not come back inside this channel, okay, and maybe gives me an opportunity to maybe reverse off the top of this channel, then maybe we can secure a move along those kind of lines. Okay, maybe a move down before we see a move up. Okay, all right. Moving on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart. Okay, so we had kind of a nice break of this channel to the upside, as I noted in the daily chart. We now see price kind of retracing here a bit. Again, if I am bullish on this market, I would not want to see price really get too much lower than this area here on the top end of the channel. In order for me to it be interested to the upside. Okay, I'm drawing my little channel here just to kind of gauge kind of the direction here. Right now we're in a bearish channel, so the path of least resistance right now, it appears to be lower. We had a very strong bearish candle here on the 4-hour chart, and now it's followed up by obviously not a bearish candle, but a weak bullish candle nonetheless. Okay, moving on to the 30-minute chart. Okay, so actually, I just want to open up the 15-minute. It's just the same here. Okay, so opening up the 15-minute chart here, we have the VWAP, which current price is currently below. We have our developing initial balance range as we speak, which is currently potentially breaking structure here to the downside. Okay, which could speak to further price action to the downside. We're going to go ahead and open up fixed range volume profile here for the start of let's see, not Wednesday but Tuesday. Okay, I suspect I know the answer to this question as well, but if I go ahead and move back to the start of Tuesday, which is over here somewhere. Okay, here's the start of Tuesday. Drag that across to the close here of Tuesday, and you can see that we're well below price here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and this is our value area. Okay, value area low. Okay, so right now we seem to be in somewhat of a bearish structure to the downside. Okay, We prices below our VWAP, below our value area low. We have a relatively, I would say for now, relatively normal initial balance range that's looking to break some structure to the downside. So, and it's also being met with, volume delta is kind of supportive of this move. Okay. So we'll have to see how this 15-minute candle closes here in the next, 12 minutes to see. Okay. And if it does hold as it appears it wants to hold, then any pullback into this area here would be a logical location. Okay. I say pullback would be a logical location to participate in this move, right? What I don't want to see is price to take up more than maybe 50% of this candle before it gets rejected. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking for right now in the crude oil. Its current move is supportive, okay, to the downside. So we have to embrace that, okay. And then, like I said, overall, the market on the higher time frame, although it has kind of recently turned a little bit bullish, still very much under bearish control here. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and open up our levels that we'll be tracking in this market. We'll just go ahead and add those to the charts here. Okay. There it is. There's our levels on the charts. Okay, so these are the levels that we'll be tracking. So like I said before, right now, I think the path of least resistance is lower. We do have EIA today, okay, which could shake things up here. I'm going to draw my anchor VWAP for the start of London here, which is over here. Okay. And let's see, we get price below our daily VWAP, below our anchor VWAP. Okay, so yeah, so the question is, what we should be expecting. Okay, again, is for price to continue in this downward spiral here. Okay, that's what we should expect. Now we'll be looking at this current 15-minute candle to see if that gives us a little bit of guidance here, okay, as to the overall direction. Okay, right now it seems that it wants to head lower. Okay, and like I said, ideally I'd like to see if maybe I can get involved in a pullback. Okay, I'm always involved. I always like to get involved in some sort of pullback. I don't want to get involved in the lows of lows because I feel like I have to take on too much risk. So I'd like to see if I can at least risk no more than 50% of this candle. If I can get in this around the 72.40 level with a stop maybe above 72.60, that's the kind of risk parameters I'd like to take in this market. Okay, you're welcome, Shark. All right, moving on to the NASDAQ. Okay, so NASDAQ, we'll take a look at the NASDAQ here. All right, so NASDAQ looks like is falling as a result of CPI. Okay, the CPI news, I guess, was not taken all that well as a result of the news. Okay, so looking at the daily, we have a strong developing bearish candle here. Okay, which could lead to further downside price action today. Okay, in this market. Okay, we seem to have trouble, or we have had no. We've kind of been bouncing our head against I don't know, 22,000, 21,900. Okay, we've been kind of butting our head up against that level. Okay, have not been able to get above that. So as long as we can't get above 21,900, then I would say that there is a fair chance that we continue to the downside. Now we have also similarly some support here around 21,400. That's been also supportive. So I mean, again, it seems like we are in a bit of range here. Okay, a bit of a range price action in the NASDAQ at the moment. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and color that in green. Okay, that's going to indicate support and indicate demand. Okay, so we've been kind of in range of late. Okay, in this market, 21,900 to the top side, 21,000. I'm just going to call it 400 to the bottom side. Okay, we've just kind of been rotating between these two levels. All right, moving down to the 30-minute chart. Okay, 30-minute chart. Again, this candle here is a result of news. Okay, we had CPI kind of reporting, and that resulted in a little bit of a sell-off in this market. Now the question is whether that was an overreaction, or whether we can then expect a market to sustain this current move. Okay, my feeling is that maybe we will come back. Okay, to maybe retrace some of this, and then maybe we make another leg lower. Okay, that's kind of my current view. So let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile here. We'll see where price is in relation to right here. So we got this, and we're going to drag that across to the close here. Okay, so you can see that price is well below value. Okay, with this reaction to CPI. Okay, well below value. So bears are obviously very much in control of this market. Obviously, feel like I'm a little bit extended to participate at the low end. Okay, of this move. So I'm going to be kind of patient and see, okay, if I can get price to come back up to maybe a daily VWAP, okay, or something along those lines, okay, or maybe an anchored VWAP from London here. Now, London obviously was a little bit flat. This particular move did not happen until about an hour ago, so 45 minutes ago. So I'm not seeing anything very obvious here in London that would indicate any sort of direction. But the fact that we now have price below it, well, then I could use these levels, okay, as areas or reference levels for a continuation move to the downside. Okay, that's kind of my current view. Now we're still about 20 minutes away from the initial balance open here. So nothing to infer from initial balance at the moment, since it has not been established. But I think right now, given this move and given sort of the general kind of tone, I would say that maybe a move to the downside is probably something we could potentially take advantage of. But I'd like to sell strength. Okay, I'd like to see price, make a move, maybe back to retest some of these same levels. We have anchor VWAP, we have daily VWAP. These are logical locations around 21,700. Okay, this could serve us well for maybe a continuation trade to the downside. Okay, all right. So initial balance is not available, so we're going to go ahead and add our levels here, at our price levels that I'm tracking in this market here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up ASR and ADR, and this CPI move may have exceeded or caused us to exceed this. So here we did exceed the average daily range based on this move here, and then average session range. These are London numbers. That's also been exceeded. Now I would be inclined, okay, to use the bottom of these ranges now as maybe as an area for me to maybe secure an execution to the downside. Okay, I'm not really keen on participating right at the lows, right? Because I feel like I'm exposed, right, to buyers kind of rushing in here. Okay, so my first inclination is to see if I can get some sort of pullback to one of these levels. Okay, ASR in this case low, or ultimately we have the average. We have the VWAPs. Okay, both on the daily side as well as, and then we have value area low. That's also not kind of another logical area for price. So these are going to be kind of areas that I'd like to kind of maybe keep on watch, set an alert for, what have you, just to kind of alert me should price get to these levels. That might be an area that I want to, take a potentially advantage of here. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm seeing in the NASDAQ. Again, we had a strong push to the downside. So I'm kind of waiting to sell a little bit of strength here, waiting for price to maybe make it back to, say, my daily VWAP or my anchor VWAP, or maybe my average session range low here from London, some sort of reference level where I can, base my trade on. Okay. All right. Just kind of taking a peek to see if there's any questions. I don't see it, so we'll go ahead and move on to the ES here. Okay, so the ES market, again, we're going to go ahead and look at the daily. Start off with the daily. You can see that we have a very strong candle here that's come into the market. Okay, again, continuing in this kind of range mode. Okay, obviously developing a very strong. You're welcome, Ferador. Obviously, seeing that price is, let's see here, created a little bit of a supply zone here. Okay. Price has not been able to get above 6,100. Okay. So this area seems to be resistance. Okay. But we technically have been kind of in this range kind of price action. Very difficult price action, honestly, to trade. Okay. 4-hour chart. Okay, for our chart, again, this is a result of the news that we received this morning. We got a strong kind of push to the downside that has broken some structure here. Okay, now the question is that news going to create a situation where we continue to the downside? Okay, I see that we have broken kind of some structure here. Okay, with this move. Okay, to the downside on the 4-hour chart. Okay. Now, the question is this sustainable? Is this going to create a situation where we start to revisit some of these lows here? Maybe 5,900 seems logical, or maybe 5,960. Okay. These are all kind of logical levels for price as a result of this move. Okay. All right. Moving to the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart. Again, we have our, I'm going to go ahead and remove some of my drawings here. Don't need the channel at this point. Okay, so we've exceeded our average daily and session ranges. Okay, we are kind of not really moving all that much at this point. Okay, we had a burst to the downside, and now we've kind of stalled here a little bit. Okay, so the question is, maybe there's still a little bit of digestion of what the news really has to say. If this is truly a move to the downside, then I would say that this just like I mentioned in Nasdaq, then the daily VWAP is going to be a logical location for me to want to maybe potentially take an execution. Yeah, I would say that the green number is probably an indication of high inflation. And as a result, bearish. Okay. That's kind of how I read that, Ferador. Okay. In any case, whatever was said in the news has not been received well. Right. Sometimes I hesitate to try to read into the fundamentals and how the market is reacting to it, because sometimes the price action is opposite of what the news should say. So since I'm a technical analysis trader, I'm aware of the news. Okay, I know that the news could affect the markets, but ultimately, my true news is what effect does that have on price? Okay, because at the end of the day, price is king for me, and I use price to determine my executions. I don't use fundamentals to determine what direction I should be making the markets, because sometimes the fundamentals and the technical analysis are not necessarily in sync. Fundamentals could say one thing and price do completely opposite of what we might think it should do. So in any case, right now, what I'm seeing is price reacting negatively, all right, as a result of the news. And the question is for me now is this going to continue, okay, to the downside, all right? Or is this going to be maybe the news was a little bit of an overreaction, okay? And now maybe this is an area maybe we can where we can maybe look to add, or maybe look for an execution to the upside, okay? So in any case, that's kind of where we're at right now, okay? Let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile. Again, it shouldn't probably not be too much of a surprise here that we're probably going to be below here. Okay, so there we are. There's our volume profile. We'll give it a second here to load up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and draw in my value area low here. You can see that price is well below that. Okay. Initial balance is still about 15 minutes away from establishing here. Okay. So we have value area low here at around 60.80. Okay. In this market, I'm going to go ahead and add my levels to this chart on the levels, the price levels I'm going to be taking an eye on, or keep an eye on. Okay. All right. So I have 59.50 as an area of demand, 4-hour demand. Okay. We have our average session ranges. We have 60.62 is our average session range low. So I'm going to go ahead and modify that. 60.62. These are London ranges. Okay. These will adjust here with the open of the US session. We have 61.13 here on the top side. 61.13, 75. Okay. Okay, so we have, these are our kind of ranges that we're kind of, I guess, tracking in this market. So right now, much like the Nasdaq, I have to look to see maybe an opportunities that will allow me to manage some risk. Now it's kind of interesting, okay, that we got a nice move to the downside, and looks like everybody's left the building. Okay, but they position themselves how they want, and now we're kind of stalled here around 60.27. Okay, a mad rush of movement. Now we've stalled, so we'll have to see. Okay, and wait for the markets to open. Okay, again, I'm going to be waiting for this initial balance range to establish, and then see what kind of trend, if a trend is in store today in the equity, specifically S&P. All right, so we're just going to have our levels here. Right now, like I said, I would be kind of keen on maybe a short. Okay, right around this level here, right around value area low. Okay, this would be kind of an area that I would be interested around 60.70, 60.75. That would be kind of an area that I would naturally expect price to maybe react and away from. Okay, so this is kind of my current hypo, right? That I'm waiting for a little bit of a pullback for me to look for an opportunity to the downside. Okay, that's kind of my current view of this market. All right. Let's see, any questions? So we touched on the high inflation. All right, let's close off this session with a review of the YM. I don't believe that YM is going to tell us all that much different than what we've already seen in the equities, but we'll take a look at it because I know there's a few of you that trade the YM. So we'll go ahead and add that to the list here. Okay, so similar kind of thing here. We've had some overlapping price of late. We have a rather strong bearish engulfing candle supported by volume delta. Okay, there are more sell orders than buy orders happening. Okay, so price is aligned with volume. Moving on to the 4-hour chart, again, similar to what we've been seeing in the Nasdaq and the ES, we have a very strong bullish 4-hour candle that has broken some structure to the downside. The question is there follow through in this candle? Is there going to be a continuation move in this candle to the downside? And if so, how far can we go? Well, I don't see if we continue in this trek. 44,000, okay, doesn't seem out of the question here. Okay, 44,000 is kind of an area that I see, sort of a collection of price here, balance area. Okay, this area right here. Okay, this would be a logical location. Okay, for price to move to. Okay, based on what I'm seeing on the 4-hour. Looking at the 30-minute chart. Okay, 30-minute chart, we've broken some average session ranges. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile from yesterday. Okay, and drag that across to the close of yesterday. And again, you can see that price is below. Okay, price is below our value. Okay, so this area right here, okay, this area, value area low, is going to be an area that I'm going to be taking a look at to see if it's able to sustain. Now, it looks like we are getting, again, a little bit of an overreaction. Okay, a little bit overreaction in the markets. Now it appears that we are getting some interest on the buy side. Okay, so again, I'm going to be looking for this area right around value area low. Okay, to offer me maybe an opportunity where I might be able to take an execution. Now, if we do manage to close back inside value, well, then I have the whole range of value that could that price could rotate through. Okay, so let's go ahead and mark up my first hypo, and then the second one would be something along the lines of maybe price coming inside value here, maybe breaking above this average session range low, and then looking for maybe an opportunity that would rotate through value. Okay, that would be kind of my bullish scenario. Okay, those are kind of my two things. So I need to see price break some level. Okay, in order for me to entertain long, whether it's a break above VWAP, whether it's a break above value, something needs to give here. Okay, for me to consider a long. Okay. Otherwise, I suspect that whoever or whomever these folks were, are not going to let price get back inside value. If anything, this probably would be an area where they would add to their position. This is considered an area of value, and they would add and continue their move to the downside. Okay. So I don't have any specific levels here for these markets or price levels for the Dow. Okay, I only track mainly those four, and I do the Dow here as kind of a courtesy to some of the traders who trade it. Okay, so we have again 44,845. That's the top end. That's the ASR high, and then we have 44,476. This area right here could offer us maybe an area for maybe continued selling. Otherwise, don't see. We see. It looks like we have exceeded below average daily range low. We've already. I think the only thing that's missing, I'm going to add here, is our anchored VWAP, and we're going to go ahead and locate the start of London here. There it is, and you can see that price is below that as well. Okay, so again, we need to understand. I'm personally going to wait to see what the initial balance range has in store for us here in the next 5 minutes or so before I take on any sort of executions in this market. So initial balance range is going to be kind of my litmus test, and then based on that information, that will tell me what potential direction they'd like to take the market. Okay, so for now, I would say that certainly equities appear to be bearish. Okay. Gold, I think, was also equally bearish, and I think of it as maybe bearish across the board. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to take a quick peek here, the crude oil market, since we spoke, and yeah, that's also equally as bearish, although coming into some areas here that could offer some support here. Okay, so yeah, so that's kind of what I have for you guys today, guys. So don't hesitate to, again, I'm keeping these sessions open to the public. At some point, they will move back to membership. So don't hesitate to hit the like button. Don't hesitate to comment on how this analysis is supporting your efforts to analyze the markets. That's all is all well received on my end. So thanks again for all your support. And yeah, so as we close every session, guys, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. All right, guys, have an excellent day trading. Again, a reminder to those crude oil traders that we have EIA today at 10:30 a.m. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. Okay. Otherwise, have an excellent day trading, and I'll either see you later this afternoon, okay, in coaching or in the coaches Ray rooms on the Top Step server. All right. Until then, again, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. All right, guys, have an excellent day trading, and we'll talk soon.